In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to retrieve rows that match a specific string pattern. For example, let's say we only want to get the customers whose last name start with B. So here in the where clause, we type out where last name. This is where we use the like operator. And right after that, we add a string pattern. So we want to get the customers whose last name start with B. And we have any number of characters after B. So we use the percent sign to indicate any number of characters. We might have one character after B, or no characters, or 10 characters. With this pattern, we get all the customers whose last names start with B. And also, it doesn't matter if it's an uppercase or a lowercase b. So let's execute this query. There you go. So we only have 3 customers whose last names start with B. As another example, let's say we only want to get the customers whose last names start with brush. So we change our pattern to brush %. Now let's execute the query. We only get this one customer here. Now this % sign doesn't have to be at the end of the pattern. It can be anywhere. For example, let's say we want to search for customers who have a B in their last name, whether it's at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end. So we change our pattern to %B %. This pattern means we can have any number of characters before or after B. Let's execute the query. These are the customers who have a B somewhere in their last name. It doesn't matter if B is at the beginning or in the middle or at the end. Let's look at another example. I want to get all the customers whose last name end with Y. So here's the pattern we use. Let's execute this query, and we have 5 customers whose last name ends with a Y. So this is how we use the % sign. Now we also have an underscore, and that matches a single character. So with this pattern, we get customers whose last name is exactly 2 characters long. We don't care what the first character is, but the second character should be Y. Let's execute this query. Obviously, we don't have any customers whose last name matches this pattern. But if we change this pattern to 5 underscores, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, followed by a Y, we should get these customers. So their last name is exactly 6 characters. We don't care about the first 5 characters, but all of them end with a Y. Now, as another example, we can replace the first underscore with B, and that means we want to get the customers whose last names start with B, and after B, we have exactly 4 characters followed by a Y. Let's execute this query. So we only have 1 customer that matches this pattern. So this is how we use the like operator. We use the % sign to represent any number of characters and an underscore to represent a single character. Now, this like operator in MySQL is an older operator, but we also have a newer one that is more powerful, and it allows us to search for any string patterns. And that's what I'm going to show you next. All right, here I'm going to give you 2 exercises for the like operator. First, I want you to get the customers whose addresses contain trail or avenue. And next, I want you to get the customers whose phone numbers end with 9. All right, let's get started with the first exercise. So select star from customers where address like. Now here we want to use a search pattern like this. We want to have trail, but trail can be anywhere in the address. So we put a % before and after trail. Next, we should use the OR operator to search for another pattern. Or address like. Let me put this on a new line. That is better. Address like, once again, % avenue %. That's it. So let's execute this query. Here's the result. You should get the customers with IDs 2, 9, and 10. If you look at their addresses, all of them have either trail or avenue in their address. Now let's work on the second exercise. We want to get the customers whose phone numbers end with 9. That is pretty easy. So let me change our where clause. Where phone, once again, we use the like operator, add a % followed by a 9. That's all you had to do. Let's execute the query. So here's the result. Customers with IDs 3 and 7, their phone numbers, and with 9. So this is how we use the like operator. And by the way, you can always use the not operator here. Let's say if you want to get the customers whose phone numbers don't end with 9. So we simply prefix like with not. Now, if we execute this query one more time, we get all the other customers in the database.